David Hasselhoff, the video America's talking about. Next Inside Edition.
I'm Jim Axelrod. Deadly twister. A huge storm flattens a Kansas town, leaving a heavy toll of dead and injured. Conflicting battle plans for Iraq. The White House and Congress square off over the future course of U.S. policy. Does baseball have a drinking problem? Tough questions for the major leagues after the drunken driving death of a promising young pitcher. And Royal Derby. All eyes on the Queen at the Run for the Roses.
This is the CBS Evening News.
Good evening. The people of southwestern Kansas tonight are counting their dead and looking nervously to the skies for a possible repeat in the wake of last night's killer tornadoes. The powerful storm front triggered tornadoes across a wide swath of Kansas, killing at least 9 people. Worst hit of all was the small town of Greensburg, Kansas, which is where our Drew Levinson is reporting from tonight.
Well, Jim, behind me is what used to be a small diner. People were having lunch here yesterday. Tonight, those same people are picking up the pieces of their lives.
You have to see it in person to really understand it, but it's devastating.
Rescue workers today searched through piles of debris where homes and businesses once stood, looking for more victims of last night's deadly tornado.
There's a couple of structures that aren't as heavily damaged as others, but it was wide enough to completely get the entire city of Greensburg. Very big storm, absolutely catastrophic damage.
The massive twister, as much as a mile wide, wiped out entire neighborhoods and spared almost nothing in its path. In the city's business district, all but a few buildings were destroyed. Officials estimate that 95% of Greensburg has been reduced to rubble.
We could see everything just flying at it sounded like diesel engines.
Jet engines.
Jet engines, you know, it was just horrible.
There was no way to go nowhere, and then so we started hearing glass breaking and flying everywhere. It was the restaurant right here beside us was flying over our heads, and the glass was flying over our heads.
The tornado was fueled by a strong storm system that also spawned this twister in Oklahoma yesterday. Many of Greensburg's 1,600 residents will remain in shelters until rescue crews complete their search. Meanwhile, some are thinking about the difficult task of rebuilding.
And what went through our mind was, how do you rebuild? All of Main Street's gone. Both of our schools are gone. So I guess that's what we're thinking. Where do we go from here?
We're going to have to come together, you know, and we're going to have to come together as a one, because we can rebuild this community, but it's not going to be easy. And I'm very nervous about what the future holds, but we can do it.
And the forecast for the immediate future is more severe weather. Not only tonight, but through Monday. Jim, that is something these people certainly don't need.
That's right, Drew. Drew Levinson in Greensburg, Kansas. Thank you for that. A Newsweek poll out tonight puts President Bush's job approval rating at an all-time low of just 28%. 62% of those polled say his actions in Iraq show he is stubborn and unwilling to admit his mistakes. The president's veto this week of an Iraq war funding bill with a troop withdrawal deadline means more wrangling with Democrats lies ahead. Joey Chen reports tonight on what's next and how campaign politics may shape the outcome.
Behind closed doors, with a swift stroke of his veto pen, the president underscored his message to opponents on Capitol Hill. And if they somehow missed it, he repeated himself today.
Earlier this week, I vetoed the bill Congress sent me because it set a fixed date to begin to pull out of Iraq.
That much is clear. What's uncertain is just what the president is willing to sign off on. Could it include benchmarks for Iraq and consequences if they aren't met? That's what Democrats originally wanted. Now both sides say they want compromise. But it's clear each is still trying to gain the upper hand.
It's clear that at this early point in the negotiations, nothing is off the table.
Meantime, the stalemate, combined with a looming political calendar for presidential hopefuls, puts pressure on them to proffer their own solutions. Eager to emerge a leading voice on the issue, Senator Hillary Clinton proposed legislation to take back Mr. Bush's authority to continue the war past this October.
If the president will not bring himself to accept reality, it is time for Congress to bring reality to him.
That shot across the bow sent her Democratic competitors scurrying for their own answers. Delaware Senator Joe Biden insisted it was his idea first. So did New Mexico Governor Bill Richardson. Others said Clinton's plan wouldn't go far enough, fast enough. Senator Barack Obama saying troops can't wait that long. Former North Carolina Senator John Edwards urged a quick cutoff of money for the war. Which goes to show just how hard it's going to be for competing interests in Congress to craft a compromise. Interestingly, the president had predicted that, Jim, and now he's tossed the ball right back in their court.
Joey Chen at the White House, thank you. Perhaps even more telling is the Iraq proposal of President Bush's fellow Republican, Senator Olympia Snowe of Maine. Her plan sets 6 benchmarks, including full Iraqi control of its military, a law to disarm militias, and a plan to distribute oil revenue. There's a 4-month deadline to meet the benchmarks. Failure would trigger a phased troop withdrawal, starting with those troops most recently deployed as part of the president's surge. Earlier, I spoke with Senator Snowe, who is on a fact-finding tour of Iraq. In an exclusive interview, I asked her how her plan is different from what the Democrats are proposing.
Well, they called for immediate withdrawal of all troops. That's a precipitous withdrawal. We should give General Petraeus, who's the new commander, the opportunity to see if it will work, and he has been very candid and forthright in saying that he will come back to the Congress and to the President in September with his assessment and evaluation of the effectiveness of the surge.
Doesn't this take the decisions and take them out of the hand of the commanders, something the President has said won't happen on his watch?
I don't see it that way. I know the President has argued against any consequences associated with the benchmarks, but I think that the time has come to ensure that the Iraqi government understands that the military surge was designed to give the government the opportunity to negotiate these political compromises that will achieve national reconciliation.
Senator, does the President just fundamentally misunderstand the will of the American people at this point, in your opinion?
Well, obviously the President has been adamant about his views and his direction concerning the war. And I think the American people, patience running out. I think that they're frustrated. I mean, obviously we've seen the increased levels of violence. Every military commander here said there's no military solution to this problem.
Senator Olympia Snowe in Baghdad, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Now to Major League Baseball, still mourning a St. Louis Cardinals pitcher who was driving drunk when he was killed last week. Baseball and booze. It's a combination that's been winked at for generations, but now that may be changing. Here's Randall Pinkston.
It was a somber moment at last night's home game for the St. Louis Cardinals. A memorial for 29-year-old relief pitcher Josh Hancock. In the bullpen, his initials and uniform number were placed in a black circle. Hancock was killed last Saturday night when his speeding SUV rammed a parked tow truck on a Missouri highway. Autopsy results revealed a blood alcohol level of .157, nearly double Missouri's legal limit.
I really think this is going to be sort of a wake-up call for baseball.
Cardinals manager Tony La Russa, who had his own run-in with police over drinking and driving, announced alcohol is now banned from the team's clubhouse. La Russa says he talked to Hancock about drinking.
A very serious heart-to-heart with Josh on that Thursday, and here's Saturday. He still drank and crashed.
The Cardinals now join the Oakland A's, which banned locker room liquor last year when pitcher Esteban Loaiza was arrested for drunk driving after leaving the stadium. Neither Hancock nor Loaiza are the first athletes with drinking problems. Baseball legends Babe Ruth and Mickey Mantle sometimes played with a hangover. So did all-star David Wells, who says he was half drunk, his words, when he pitched his perfect game in 1998.
I got it cold and ready to be sold.
There is a historic and lucrative link between liquor and baseball. 3 teams, including the Cardinals, play in stadiums named for beer makers. Busch in St. Louis, Coors in Denver, Miller in Milwaukee. Naming deals worth millions.
$126 million and possibly as high as $200 million.
What's new is that they're addressing the issue.
Former pitcher Jim Bouton, who wrote the first tell-all book about the dark side of sports, thinks the Hancock tragedy will lift the veil.
The scrutiny is incredible. You've got 24-hour, sports news stations, and so they're not going to be able to get away with anything.
Major League Baseball's rules on substance abuse only mentions drugs and steroids, not alcohol. A league spokesman tells CBS News there are no current plans to re-examine those guidelines. Jim?
Randall Pinkston, thanks. Good to see you. Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, the visa crunch that's putting a chill on America's summer resorts.
A good breakfast is always in season, and this spring it's just $4.99. Denny's weekday breakfast has arrived. Only $4.99 for 2 eggs, bacon and sausage, hash browns, and 2 pancakes. This special won't last long, so come to Denny's Monday through Friday.
Did you know 1 in 2 women will develop bone or breast health issues?
Really? I didn't know that.
One A Day Women's is the only complete multivitamin with more calcium for strong bones, and now more vitamin D, which emerging research suggests may support breast health. One A Day Women's.
Go on.
Spring is here and I want a clean start.
Any response?
Want a thorough spring cleaning? Get Swiffer Wet. The scrubbing strip cleans tough, dried-on messes better than a mop. It's the cleaner spring cleaner.
Scalpel? Laser. Imagine becoming your own eye specialist. If drastic measures aren't for you, there's new Regenerist Eye Dermapod. It resurfaces, helps fill in lines, and decongests puffiness. So get results without ever leaving home.
I have one family, 2 daughters and a mother. The mother has Alzheimer's. We worked with her 2 daughters online, picking out the best plan for her. Her expenses were running $300 to $400 a month, and Medicare Part D would obviously save her money. It's taken a burden off of the daughters for supporting their mother, and everybody's happy right now. I'm Winton Harris, and I'm a CVS pharmacist.
We all have internal plumbing, but for some of us, it can be a problem. You know, frequent bladder urges. You worry your pipes might leak, so it's hard to always do things spur of the moment. That's why you should talk to your doctor about how to take care with Vesicare. Vesicare, once a day, can reduce urges and may help effectively manage bladder leakage day and night. If you have certain types of stomach, urinary, or glaucoma problems, do not take Vesicare. While taking Vesicare, if you experience a serious allergic reaction, severe abdominal pain, or become constipated for 3 or more days, tell your doctor right away. Common side effects are dry mouth, constipation, blurred vision, and indigestion. Fewer urges, the chance to be more spontaneous. It doesn't have to be a pipe dream. Ask your doctor today if Vesicare is right for you.
How do the professionals fight bugs? They put down a barrier that stops them dead. Now you can too. Presenting Ortho Home Defense Max. Now one easy application, inside and out, controls bugs for up to 12 full months. Ortho forms a barrier, killing the bugs you have, stopping new ones from coming in. For year-long control in your home, guaranteed. Ortho Home Defense Max. Kill bugs like a pro.
It's everybody's dream. She walked into a thrift shop with $5 and walked out with a national treasure worth $50 million. Or is it? 60 Minutes tomorrow.
Memorial Day is just a few weeks away now, the unofficial start to summer in resort areas all over the country, like the Hamptons on New York's Long Island. But with temporary worker visas capped at 66,000 and demand soaring, some vacationers may not get the service and care they're accustomed to. Michelle Miller has more.
All over the Hamptons, owners of ritzy shops and fancy restaurants are getting ready for the season, the 3 months from Memorial Day to Labor Day, when they make their money for the year. But this year, many businesses are facing hard times because of cutbacks in temporary visas. They allow seasonal workers like waitresses and yard laborers to enter the country.
Is bankruptcy on the horizon? It's a possibility for this year.
For 30 years, Tish Rehill has owned a landscaping company. She's relied heavily on Latin American laborers with legal temporary H-2B visas.
You need how many workers?
42 was what I applied for this year. 13 were going to be new. 26 were returning workers.
How many do you have?
Well, I have none.
During the summer, the population in the Hamptons explodes, more than doubling in size. And that's the problem. Local businesses can't keep up without an influx of immigrant workers to serve them.
And it's not just the Hamptons. Resorts from Maine to Miami are dependent on seasonal workers who come from Europe and Latin America. According to the Labor Department, there's been a 30% jump in applications for these temporary work visas. That slowed down processing, as have stricter guidelines as to who qualifies. But business owners say the department is dragging its feet.
This could be disastrous to the economy of the Hamptons.
Each year, Hamptons businesses apply for visas for between 4,000 and 5,000 foreign workers. Paul Monte estimates the DOL has denied as many as 1,500 of them. 30 of the visas he requested for his hotel were denied. He says he can get by, but worries others may turn to illegal workers who gather each day looking for work to fill the gap.
Desperate times call for desperate measures, and I'm sure that if it comes down to survival, people are going to do what it takes to survive.
Many of the Hamptons businesses are appealing the visa denials and hope they will be reversed in time to save their summer profits. Michelle Miller, CBS News, Montauk, New York.
One more business note. Billionaire businessman Warren Buffett said today that problems in the so-called subprime lending market are not a big threat to the U.S. economy. Buffett was speaking at the annual meeting of his company, Berkshire Hathaway. And just ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, with all the talk in Washington about money for the Iraq War, what do the families of those fighting it think?
It's 30 shrimp at Red Lobster. Mix and match your two favorites like decadent scampi, creamy pasta, hand-breaded, or try new savory garlic grilled shrimp. It's 30 shrimp for $12.99, only at Red Lobster.
Hi, I'm Cookie Coletti, and I'm doing the arthritis walk this year. We have to bring an awareness to it and learn what we can about it and do what we can about it to eliminate it. It would be great if we could do it in my generation, in my lifetime. This year, I'm going to walk the arthritis walk in May, and I'm going to make a difference.
Healthy Choice introduces a free program with the essential tools and tips you need to enjoy better health, like eating more fruits and vegetables and walking more often. To learn more, go to healthychoice.com and start making choices with Healthy Choice.
Tennis Serenity underwear has always kept you protected, feeling fresh, and enjoying life. So coming up with our new look was only natural.
You know how it goes. There's your love life. And there's your life. That's why for guys like me with ED, there's Cialis. Cialis is the only erectile dysfunction tablet clinically proven to both go to work fast, in as little as 30 minutes for some men, and work up to 36 hours. With Cialis, I can have the option of being ready fast, or have up to 36 hours to relax, knowing I can be ready when the moment is finally right.
Tell your doctor about your medical conditions and all medications, and ask if you're healthy enough for sexual activity. Don't take Cialis if you take nitrates for chest pain, as this may cause an unsafe drop in blood pressure. Don't drink alcohol in excess with Cialis. Side effects may include headache, upset stomach, delayed backache, or muscle ache. To avoid long-term injuries, seek immediate medical help if you experience priapism, an erection lasting more than 4 hours. If you have any sudden decrease in vision, stop taking Cialis and call your doctor right away.
Why ask your doctor about Cialis?
Because life can be full of interruptions. When the moment is right, you can be ready with Cialis.
Blue sky, smiling at me, nothing but blue skies.
Today, there's a fuel that, when paired with advanced diesel engines, will help reduce truck emissions by 90%. And that means bluer skies and cleaner air for all of us. Introducing new ultra-low sulfur diesel. From the people who bring you oil and natural gas. Learn more at energytomorrow.org.
Former Speaker of the House Newt Gingrich and Congressman Charles Rangel on the Iraq War and Campaign 2008. Face the Nation Sunday.
The battle between President Bush and the Democratic majority in Congress over funding the war in Iraq is weighing heavily on those with the biggest stake in the outcome. We look at how military families view the president's handling of the war in tonight's Weekend Journal. They are the American families most affected by the fight in Washington.
There he is!
About money for the troops. There are somewhere near 150,000 troops in Iraq, meaning the actual burden of fighting there is one shared by a relatively small number of families. Families watching this clash of philosophies, the president's resisting troop withdrawal deadlines versus the Democrats pushing for them, with a more direct interest in the outcome than anyone else.
If we come home now,
the young men and women has been killed for nothing. You know, we've got to stay and try to finish the job.
Joe Johnson is tied to the war like few other Americans are. First, his son Justin enlisted in the Army after 9/11. 10 days after arriving in Iraq, he was killed by an IED. Another son, Joshua, signed up in 2002. He's now in Afghanistan. Then there's Joe himself, who also signed up and did a tour in Iraq.
Be honest with you, if I was younger, I would go back over.
They don't question the president, just Congress.
Are they going to have the money for the weapons? Are they going to have the money for the ammunition? What's going to happen if money gets tight there? Is Congress going to just say, oh, well, you know, we tried to tell you, we're not going to give you the money for it?
But Joe and Jan Johnson may be out of step now with a growing number of military families. A recent CBS News poll showed 71% of Americans with a family member who served in Iraq disapprove of the president's handling of the war. That's the same percentage as non-military families. There's also very little difference between military and non-military when it comes to the idea of a timetable for withdrawal. A majority believes it's time to set a date. The Johnsons say they struggle with the feeling that when it comes to the war, America has moved on.
They're tired of hearing about the war. They think they can go on with their everyday life because they've never had to sacrifice. It's hard to tell them, to make them understand that being military is not just a job. It's something inside of you. It's a feeling.
One more poll number, 61% of Americans with family members who have served or who are serving in Iraq believe the Congress, and not the president, should have the final say when it comes to the number of troops in Iraq. And next up on tonight's CBS Evening News, Queen Elizabeth II at the 133rd Kentucky Derby. Can you find her in the crowd?
Healthy Choice gave us a challenge
to add even more flavor to taste
by marinating
and fire grilling.
Delicious
And healthy.
Healthy Choice. It's all about the choices we make.
Heartburn? Painful. Zantac.
Okay.
Zantac quickly relieves heartburn.
Better?
Completely. Zantac's fast. Heartburn?
Yeah.
Prescription.
Slow.
The leading prescription can take a day or more to fully work.
Zantac.
Better. Zantac's fast. For heartburn, Zantac's fast.
The Aspen?
It could be allergies getting to you, but irritants can cause your symptoms too.
Astelin is seasonal allergy medicine, also approved for nasal symptoms caused by irritants. Nasonex, Singulair, and Zyrtec aren't.
Astelin's for people 12 and over. Most common side effects may include bitter taste, headache, nasal inflammation or burning, and drowsiness.
Don't let allergens or irritants do you in.
Ask your doctor about
Aspen.
It says here that stress can weaken our immune system.
And about 70% of our immune system is in our digestive tract.
Right. Apparently, a culture called LKCI Immunitas can help. It's clinically proven to help strengthen your body's defense system.
Only Dan Active has LKCI Immunitas.
We should try this Dan Active.
New Dan Active helps strengthen your body's defenses.
Presenting Miracle Grow Liquifeed, the only garden feeder that works with ready-to-use liquid Miracle Grow. It's a revolutionary way to grow a great garden. Liquifeed makes feeding as easy as watering. No measuring, mixing, or guessing. Just attach, insert, and feed. Plants get the perfect balance of water and nutrients to grow twice as big. Now, nothing can hold you or your garden back. Liquifeed from Miracle Grow.
I'm Edward Shellman. I own a company called S&H Wastewater Systems. If your septic system fails, it will either back up into the yard, into the house. And had this system been maintained properly, this wouldn't have happened.
Rid-X uses 100% natural bacteria and enzymes to break down hard-to-dissolve waste, even paper, to help keep your septic system operating efficiently and prevent backups between pumpings.
By the time they have to call me, there isn't a cheap fix anymore. It's going to get expensive, and it's going to get expensive fast. I would recommend you use Rid-X once a month to maintain your septic system.
Where have the bees gone? Their mysterious disappearance could create a major food crisis. We'll show you why in Saving the World, Monday on the CBS Evening News with Katie Couric.
A capacity field of 20 horses ran for the roses this afternoon in the 133rd Kentucky Derby at Churchill Downs. Coming from next to last to win the first leg of the Triple Crown was Street Sense. It was the first Derby victory for jockey Calvin Burrell. Now, most of the time at the Kentucky Derby, all eyes are on the track. Not this year. Mark Phillips tells us it was a certain royal visitor who is the Queen of Churchill Downs today.
There were two kinds of betting at Churchill Downs today, the usual kind on the horses.
Happy Derby Day.
And betting on whether anyone would actually get a glimpse of the most important two-legged creature here, the Queen of England. Some clearly came in the hope she'd get a glimpse of them.
Are you hoping the Queen gets a view of it?
I hope so, too. Maybe they'll let me up there in the Millionaire's Row. Would that be nice?
The Queen is an old Kentucky hand, having bred her own horses here for years and visiting them occasionally. But Derby Day is the main event in the bluegrass horse country, and she'd somehow never been to one before. Her presence gave the usual fashion parade a special, even royal air, competing with the Queen's hats, perhaps.
Give her a run for her money, as they say.
Everything's about running for the money on Derby.
Get Julep! They're used to celebrity here, but the visit of a queen requires special training.
You don't speak unless spoken to, and you certainly don't ever touch her, although if she extends her hand, you may give her a light shake.
No hugging.
No hugging.
This was billed as private time. The Queen wasn't here to be seen. She was here to see the racing.
Officially, this is a state visit interrupted by a horse race. The Queen might see it, though, as a horse race minorly inconvenienced by a state visit. To be fair, the Queen never lets her passion get in the way of her duty, but it's nice when they come together.
They've been running the Derby here for 133 years. Today, they could show off the world's most famous horse race and the world's most famous horsewoman.
So, big hats, race horses, and lots of money at play. Three things the Queen is very familiar with. She must have felt at home, Jim.
So, Mark, how does it work? I mean, does the Queen actually make a little royal wager?
Is there a royal bookie? It seems there might be. She is known to place a bet from time to time. And in the royal box at Royal Ascot, one of the big meetings in England, they usually run a pool, which she has also been known to win.
The royal secrets. Mark Phillips at Churchill Downs, thank you. And we'll be right back.
Want bigger, more beautiful potted plants? Miracle Grow makes it easy with moisture control potting mix. Watch. The soil is so amazing, it actually stores water, only releasing it when plants need it, taking the guesswork out of watering. Plus, there's Miracle Grow plant food mixed right in that feeds for 3 months. So plants grow twice as big. Easy and amazing. Want it big? Want it beautiful? Make it Miracle Grow.
Sometimes I feel irregular, bloated.
Does that ever happen to you?
Not lately. I took the Activia Challenge.
Eat it every day for 2 weeks. It works or it's free.
Seems everyone's talking about the Activia 2-week challenge. Activia with the natural culture Bifidus regularis is clinically proven to help naturally regulate your digestive system in 2 weeks.
Ooh, heard about the Activia Challenge? I told you.
Activia, it works or it's free.
Finally, a heads up to a cosmic alignment of digits early tomorrow morning. Now, just after 2 a.m. on this May 6th, the time and the date will read, get this, 02, 03, 04, 05, 06, 07. Don't blink or you'll miss it. And that's the CBS Evening News. I'm Jim Axelrod, CBS News in New York. Good night.
CBS News. See it now, anytime, anywhere.
Introducing O'Charlie's Fresh Flavors. With 7 all-new handcrafted creations. Like our herb-crusted center-cut sirloin. Simply succulent bistro chicken. And our delicious baked shrimp scampi pasta. O'Charlie's Fresh Flavors, hand-selected, perfectly prepared, simply delicious. Now for a limited time.
Heavy rains caused one major mess for some local folks. Weekend plans are now rearranged.
Across Middle Tennessee right now, we have a severe thunderstorm warning for Giles County. 2 very strong storms. I'll detail them on radar.
There's been another downtown shooting, or beefed up patrols the answer.
And a graduation day at TSU that is one for the record books. The news is now.
From your news and information leader, Tennessee's first and only local news in high definition. This is News Channel 5 at 6.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us. Some serious storms caused all sorts of problems through the mid-state today.
One example to tell you about: a tree has fallen on a home in Antioch. Take a look at this. This is a